Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and you're watching Firewood at the Furnace. And today is the debut of the new Eastonmade 1222. We're going to put the very first wood through this machine today. I'm going to experiment with the box wedge a little bit. I've never ran a box wedge before, but we've got a pile of wood here. It's not huge. Some of it may not be big enough to actually use a box wedge on, but I'm going to do it anyway just to experiment with that wedge and see what its advantages and disadvantages are. I would really like to use that box wedge the majority of the time because my customers like their wood split a little bit smaller, not so big that you got to use two hands to handle it, and of course for the bundles. So I've got everything hooked up here. You can't see it, that's out of the camera, but the conveyor's lined up, the dump trailer's lined up, and we are going to take this thing into a whole nother gear of operation today, so stick around. So here we are, and it's going to be a little bit of trial and error today. I expected that, and the first little thing that I want to correct is the height of this belly pan that I made on the conveyor. It's just a little bit tall, so you can see there where the outfeed table lines up on the splitter there. It's just a little bit out of line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the plasma cutter and I'm going to cut a little notch out of the belly there on the front so that the splitter will line up nicely with the conveyor. So the conveyor is lined up. Sorry about the sun. It's morning and the sun's in the wrong spot, but it's lined up there with the dump trailer. Come around here so you can see it from this side. I have never liked splitting right onto the ground. I've always split into the little yard trailer or into the dump trailer and threw it in by hand. So we're going to, like I said, this whole thing is going to be new today. New splitter, first time using the conveyor, and running it right up into the dump trailer. So let's get everything warmed up because it is really cold here this morning. I'm bundled up more than I have been this whole winter so far. We've had really, really cold days these past few days. There's no wind blowing and the sun's out, so I think it's a good day to break this thing in. And since this is the debut of the splitter, it's never had any wood in it before, I figured it was only appropriate for the first wood to go in to have this machine break the cherry. So we're going to run cherry through the machine. This whole pile here needs split, so that's what we're going to do. Get the generator fired up and get the conveyor going first. And get the splitter fired up. chain broke already. Wow. So the first problem, as predicted, is with the conveyor, and as you can see, the chain is broke. What happened was a piece of wood fell down in between the paddles, got caught in the middle there. Some of you had suggested that I put a piece of rubber or like a mud flap or something in there to keep this from happening. I hadn't gotten around to that yet, so that is definitely something that's going to happen. So the conveyor, I guess, is out of commission for the moment, but we're going to keep splitting anyway because this machine is an absolute beast. I'm just playing with the height of the wedge here a little bit and trying to adjust the size of my splits to see where I like it. But it's pushing wood through pretty much effortless. I mean, the only work I'm doing is carrying around from the pile to the splitter, and everything else is totally hands-free. So we're going to work out the kinks here with the conveyor. I'm not getting upset about that because I predicted to have some issues there. But the splitter is going to make quick work of this pile of wood. All right, so change of plans. I just ran to the local tractor supply store to see if they had what I needed to fix the chain. And of course they don't. So I checked some surrounding stores. They don't have it in stock either. So that's going to be a project for another day. Today's project is to run this 1222, which we are going to do one way or another. So you see the conveyor is now out of the equation. I've got the dump trailer backed up to the splitter, and it's just going to, you know, take one thing out of the equation, and I'll have to every once in a while probably throw some splits up to the front of the trailer from the outfeed table on the splitter. So minor setback, but it's not going to stop me from running the 1222 today. We'll get the conveyor fixed up here soon and have that back in line. So let's get the splitter fired back up and keep playing with this wedge here and see how quick we can bust through this cherry. Holy moly! I ain't never made firewood this quick. I'm gonna toss some up to the front of the trailer because we're starting to push the splitter backwards, but we're making quick work of this. So I've been splitting since we got back from the tractor supply store looking for parts for the conveyor. Once we got going here, I've only been splitting for about 15 minutes or so, and there's half a cord at least, maybe over half a cord already in the trailer. I've never experienced splitting wood at this pace before, and one thing I'm realizing right now is that a second set of hands in the yard would be very beneficial when you're running a machine of this capacity, because I'm having to stop now about every 5 minutes or so to toss wood away from the splitter up towards the front of the trailer, just to get it away. It's pushing wood through the machine that fast, like every 5 minutes. I've got to move wood. So a second set of hands would be beneficial, and that's where the conveyor is going to come in. It's much higher priority for me now to get that conveyor fixed up the way it needs to be now that we've learned a little bit here this morning, because that conveyor will be my second set of hands to get the wood away from the machine. But when you got 6 pieces of wood coming off the splitter every time that ram goes forward, and the 7th way of the 7-way wedge will be the piece on top that drags back for the resplit. But coming out of the bottom is 6 pieces every single time the ram goes forward, so you're putting wood out at a pretty good pace there. So the conveyor is definitely going to be back in service really soon as I can find the parts, because this machine is absolutely changing everything. I'm going to have to figure out a different way to lay out the yard as well here, and we'll talk more about that coming up. But once I get the conveyor, the splitter, the trailer set up, I want to have it in a situation where I don't really have to move all the pieces around all the time. Kind of get myself set up to where I can have a designated splitting area. So we're going to fire it back up and keep working through this cherry. So here we are, a full dump trailer load of cherry split by the Eastonmade 1222 in record time. Now, I did have to get up there and throw the wood forward like I was explaining to you earlier, which slowed me down a little bit. But I filled that trailer in just over 2 hours while having to stop and get up there and throw wood. So I know I've got at least 1.5 cords. It's probably over 1.5 cords of wood in that trailer in less than 2 hours with the manual hand throwing. So once the conveyor gets running, I have no doubt that this machine is going to fill that trailer in probably about an hour, maybe just over an hour, which is absolutely incredible. Now, we have learned some lessons here today, and the first lesson that I've learned is you're only as strong as your weakest link, or you're only as efficient as your weakest link. And right now, that's the weak link. So this machine, I'm telling you what, it's a total game changer, as you know and as you can see, because I've never experienced anything like this, and it's gonna probably double my production very easily. So there you have it, the very first dump trailer load of wood split by the Eastonmade 1222. And I mean, there's not much more I can say that I haven't already said. It is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to really see over the course of the next year how much my production increases. The machine is by far the most superior piece of equipment I have in the yard now, so we're going to have to try to adjust some things to keep up with this girl right here. So that's the plan. Make some adjustments, learn along the way. I will share all my struggles and my successes with you all as we go through this process. But when you introduce a beast like this to your operation, other things have got to step up their game a little bit, I guess. But that's going to be it for today. That's the first time we got to see the machine run, and you're going to be seeing a lot of it coming up. But tomorrow night is Thirsty Thursday. We will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will have a special guest with us on the live stream. We're going to have some giveaways on the live stream. And I got a couple little surprises up my sleeve too. So I hope you can join us there tomorrow night, Thirsty Thursday. I hope to see you there. Have a great week, everybody.